The names of Noah's sons were Japheth, Ham, and Shem, and children were born to them after the flood, for they had taken wives before the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras, 7 sons in total. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Magog were Elkanah and Lubal. The children of Madai were Achan, Zelo, Kazoni, and Lot. The sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. The sons of Tubal were Ariphi, Kest, and Tari. The sons of Meshech were Dedan, Zeran, and Shabashni. The sons of Tiras were Benib, Gera, Lupirian, and Gilak. These were the descendants of Japheth, and their numbers in those days were about men. The sons of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Phut, and Canaan, 4 sons in total. The children of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Sabteka, and the sons of Rama were Sheba and Dedan. The sons of Mizraim were Lud, Anam, Pathros, Caslu, and Caphtor. The sons of Phut were Jebel, Haden, Bina, and Adon. The children of Canaan were Sidon, Hate, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Archites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. These were the descendants of Ham, and their numbers in those days were about men. The sons of Shem were Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram, 5 sons in total. The sons of Elam were Shushan, Meshul, and Harmon. The sons of Ashur were Myris and Mokil. The children of Arphaxad were Sulah, Aner, and Ashkal. The sons of Lud were Pether and Bezan. The children of Aram were Uzi, Hul, Gether, and Mash. These were the descendants of Shem, and their numbers in those days were about men. These are the generations of Shem. Shem begot Arphaxad, Arphaxad begot Sulah, and Sulah begot Eber. To Eber were born 2 sons. One was named Peleg because, during his days, humanity was divided, and the other was named Joktan, as in his days, lifespans were greatly shortened. Joktan's sons were Almadad, Shalef, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadaram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab, all sons of Joktan. Peleg's descendants included Ru, Serug, Naher, and Terah. Terah begot Haran, Naher, and Abram. Cush, the son of Ham, took a wife in his old age, and she bore him a son named Nimrod. At this time, men began to rebel against God once again. Nimrod grew strong and was greatly loved by Cush, for he was born in his father's old age. The garments of skin that God made for Adam and Eve were passed down through the generations. After Adam's death, the garments were given to Enoch. When Enoch ascended to heaven, he entrusted them to Methuselah. At Methuselah's death, Noah took the garments with him onto the ark, and they remained with him until the floodwaters receded. After leaving the ark, Ham stole the garments from Noah and hid them from his brothers. Ham later gave the garments to his son Cush, who kept them for many years. When Nimrod grew up, Cush gave him the garments out of love. At the age of 20, Nimrod put on the garments. Nimrod became mighty when he wore the garments, and God gave him great power. He became a skilled hunter and warrior. Nimrod built altars and offered sacrifices to the Lord from the animals he hunted. Nimrod rose to prominence, fighting the battles of his brethren and delivering them from their enemies. God prospered Nimrod, and he became a ruler on the earth. It became a common saying, "May God make you like Nimrod, a mighty hunter and conqueror." When Nimrod was 40 years old, a war broke out between his brethren and the children of Japheth. Nimrod gathered men from Cush's descendants and hired additional warriors. Together, they defeated their enemies. Nimrod encouraged his men, saying, "Do not fear, for God will deliver our enemies into our hands." With about men, Nimrod triumphed. He captured the children of his enemies and subjugated them. Upon his victorious return, his brethren crowned him king. Nimrod appointed princes, judges, and rulers over his subjects, as was customary for kings. He made Terah, the son of Nahor, the commander of his army and elevated him above all his princes. Nimrod later built a great city in a valley to the east, naming it Shinar, where he reigned securely. All nations and tribes brought offerings to Nimrod, and he became their king. However, Nimrod turned from God. He created idols of wood and stone, leading his people into wickedness. His son Mardon became even more wicked than he. A common saying arose, "From the wicked comes wickedness." Terah, commander of Nimrod's army, married Amphilo, the daughter of Cornebo. At the age of 70, Terah had a son and named him Abram, reflecting the honor Terah received in Nimrod's court. Terah, proud of his son, raised him among the princes, and Abram was highly regarded in the kingdom. As Abram grew, he became known for his wisdom and his faith in God, unlike the idolatrous ways of his father's people. Terah, despite his noble status, began to see Abram's faith and teachings as a challenge to his own authority. However, Terah's love for Abram was profound, and he continued to protect him from the wrath of Nimrod's kingdom. And so it was that Terah's son, Abram, was destined for greater things, setting the stage for the future of mankind.